One of the biggest highlights that came from the month of March was receiving referrals from those individuals that I've been networking with. It honestly, guys, there's nothing like it. I don't even know what to say. Hey there, Notary buddies. It is LaDarrell with Notary Know-How Georgia, and today we're coming back with another update on this notary business roller coaster in the state of Georgia. So let's see what happened this entire month. The month of March was filled with growth and a ton of new opportunities for my business. Also, it did have its issues. I'm not gonna lie, we did have some issues in the month of March, but despite all of that, I feel like I'm still making progress, slow and steady. So let's go ahead and dive in and let's recap some of all the things that happened in the month of March. One of the biggest highlights that came from the month of March was receiving referrals from those individuals that I've been networking with over the last month or so. Honestly, guys, there's nothing like it. I don't even know what to say. There really is nothing like it. I was working my butt off trying to go out and network with people, and the referrals started coming in. Was it a ton? No. And honestly, it was one of the highlights of my month. Also, one other random thing, I kept seeing signs around town for foster parents needed. And that, of course, was an extreme reminder, if whatever you want to call it, from the universe or whatever it was, that, hey, follow up with the foster parent community and build those relationships to start growing your notary business. So I took it, I was accepting the message, and I started following up. I went back to that Facebook page. I'm not gonna lie, you guys, I got busy, I got overwhelmed because there was a lot of things going on in March, and whew, I can't wait to tell you guys about it. But I wasn't following up with the foster family community as much as I planned to, and so these little signs around town reminded me to get back on track with that. Remember how I told you guys that we moved? Moving was a pain in the butt. It really was. Why am I bringing this up again? It's because it affected my business. Remember how I told you guys I was running those Google ads, right? And I had an increase of traffic coming to my home. Even though it says specifically on there, must book appointment or appointment required. You can't just show up, right? That specifically was said on there. But guess what? People be peopling, and they don't read, and they just showed up anyway. So what did that mean for my business? So once we moved, we were not even fully unpacked yet. We were still trying to settle in this house, and it was starting to warm up, and people were just calling me, say, hey, I'm outside, or, I'm looking for your address. Where is it? I was like, what do you mean? And this house was not ready to accommodate people. So I had to decide on how I was going to handle that. So I was thinking of setting up the garage again, but during the summertime it gets crazy hot in there, or just go 100% mobile only, take my address off Google, and stop having traffic come to my home. That threw a wrench in my business because in the moment I decided to pull my address off, and so that stopped the traffic coming to my house, which kind of, made my business dip a little bit, but I'll talk about that when we get to numbers. Going back to the topic of marketing, and like I said, I was a little bit too busy to go out and do all the networking that I was doing last month. I decided to start increasing my social media presence even more for my business. So this means I started pushing more on Facebook. I started posting more on Instagram. I started increasing my post on LinkedIn. Let's be for real. I started fixing my LinkedIn profile, and I started connecting with other people. I wasn't sharing a ton of posts on LinkedIn just yet. Also, I decided to start dipping my toe into the world of TikTok. You guys, when I tell you adding TikTok and trying to figure it out and learn all the ins and outs of it, it just felt like yet another thing to do. I was already trying to get a handle on posting on all these other platforms and trying to figure out what to post on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, I can just use the same thing and reshare it. But it's still, I had to create the things, right? So of course, I started digging into Canva, and I started utilizing that to create posts. And also I needed to find something to make my life easier. I needed to find something to streamline the process because I did not have the time, nor did I want to give the time constantly post things. Remember, okay, post every 3 days, post all this kind of stuff. I know there's social media manager schedulers and stuff out there, and I'm just trying to find the one that works best for me. I think I found one, but I'm going to use it for the month before I even share that with you guys. But just so you're aware, there's a ton of them out there. I'm just testing a few of them out. Some of them cost, some of them are free. So I'll talk about that next month. And to also have content to create for posting on all these social medias, I had a in-home photo shoot. What does that mean? I literally put my cell phone on a tripod. I think I had like 3 changes of shirts. Just set a timer on my phone. I ran back in front of it and I made some silly poses, right? Where did I get these poses from? I went straight to Canva and typed in YouTube thumbnails. They give a lot of examples of people posing. And so I just literally recreated those same 12, 15, however many poses. And I threw those on Canva and I removed the background. And now I have photos of me for marketing. You guys don't have to make it that difficult. It does not have to be crazy. It does not have to be expensive, because I spent a lot of money other places and I could not afford a photo shoot. Before I get into numbers, there's a few other things I want to highlight, and it was all new stuff to me that I never experienced. Among many of the firsts in this business, I got to do a notarization at a youth detention facility. And yes, I've been learning along the way about notarizations at jails and correctional facilities. And so I was treating this one the kind of the same way of what I've learned already. There were still some very strict security processes that I had to go through. I could not bring all of my stuff in. So essentially, I just literally walked in there with 2 pens, my notary journal, the client had the documents, and my notary stamp. Next highlight, I did my first notary authentication. And pause. Hey guys, Future LaDarrell here. And don't you just love it when people pause the video when you're making that awkward face? But anyway, I wanted to just jump in and explain this a little bit better. So here in Georgia, we have 2 different processes we can follow. As you guys can see on the screen, if the document is not going to be used in a foreign country, foreign embassy, or foreign consulate, what we can do here is just get a certification of notary public. In this situation, we would take the notarized documents over to the clerk of superior court in the county that the notary was commissioned, or we can go over to the main office of the GSCCCA out in Atlanta. So since I was the acting notary on these particular documents, I did take them over to my clerk's court over in Gwinnett County, and that's where I got the certification of notary public for the client's documents, and I simply just took them back to her. Now let's continue with our regularly scheduled program. I started offering that service, so now on my Google Business profile, I offer notary authentication, but specifically only for the county that I live in. So if anyone gets documents notarized by a notary that's commissioned through the county of Gwinnett, I will take those documents over to the office, which is 10 minutes from my house, and get them authenticated and carry them back to the client, either send them or ship them wherever they need. So that's the service that I started offering. I am still learning apostilles because my brain has not yet wrapped around the process, because these documents most likely are going out of the country, and so I got to still kind of get an understanding of that. And once I do, that'll be a service I will be offering in the future as well. Let's talk about loan signings. As mentioned in the prior months, I've been pulling back off of loan signings just because I've been trying to grow my business on the general notary work side. But also, since things are, up and down, and I decided to take my address off my Google Business profile, which caused business to drop a little bit, I have decided to go back for and try to get some more loan signings. I know. You guys are like, can you just make up your mind? That's the thing I love about this business. I can decide to pour the gas on when I want to, or I can decide to let it simmer. I don't always have to be constantly going after things. So whenever a notification comes in for a signing, this is what I've been doing. This is not something I started. This was something that was taught to me. As soon as that notification come in, I see it. If there's any contact information on there for the signing service that's sending a job out, I call them immediately. If I can't find anything on there, I go straight to Google and I start Googling, and then I give them a phone call. What is said on that phone call? Something super easy, super simple. Hey, this is LaDarrell Worf, a mobile notary out in Georgia. I just wanted to see if you guys still needed assistance with the signing that was sent out in Lawrenceville for 3 p.m. Did you guys get that already assigned? It's simple as that. They either tell me yes, they've already had it assigned, or they say no, and then we go back and forth. They ask me a few questions, how many signings I've done, and I was completely honest with them. I've done about 10 at this point. However, this is all the training that I have taken, and I understand the importance of getting documents back on time, executing them correctly, and if I do make a mistake, I will make sure that I get that taken care of immediately so I can make sure that the entire signing stays on track. That's it. That's the kind of conversation I was having. And then that led to me getting these 3 signings right here. And I'm going to go ahead and keep this trend up whenever a signing comes out and it's something I really want. And also that I want to build up my standing on the platforms. I'm going to give them a call, see if it's already been assigned, and we're going to take it from there and see how that goes. One other really big win I almost forgot to share with you guys was Gen Mobile Notary signed a lease for an office space. This was my solution to being able to serve people at a physical location in addition to being mobile. Also, this has the potential to open up to many, many more services that I can offer in the future. Let's go ahead and see how I did in the month of March when it comes to profit and loss of my business. In general notary work, I had $954.65 that came in. Next, I had inspection income of only $30, witness income of $50. So that gives me a total of income for the month of $1,034.65. That is definitely less than last month. Before we go into these expenses, I have to tell you guys, I definitely had to dig into my savings this month because of opening my office space. Education, there was $569.70 spent. You're like, what? Let me break that down for you. $97 of that was going through a marketing system training and being a part of that ecosystem. That was a one-time cost. Next, I spent an actual notary training. I spent $123.70. And then the big chunk of that was $349, which was because I purchased a ticket so I can attend the loan signing system conference out in California. So I'm super excited about that. So I heard good things about it, so I plan on going. Next, this office lease. So everything that I'm going to combine a few of these things, but next are the office expenses. So this includes my office lease of $625. Then I had to do office insurance of $58.40. And then I had to buy office supplies because I needed to stock my office, right? And I am nowhere near purchasing all of this stuff, but that was $276.06, which comes up to a grand total of $959.46. That's where I had to dip into savings. Next, let's see what we have here. We have Google Ads. So for Google Ads, I spent $455.55. We decided to throttle up my Google ad spend just because I wanted to test a few new things. I started offering more services, and also I wanted to expand further because I was staying really close to just my city. So I wanted to expand to a few more cities that were a little further out. That's why my Google ad costs did go up. So the final expense that I had was, I'm going to combine it. It's a few little other office things. I have some subscriptions that I'm signed up for. I had some shipping expenses, and I also have processing fees and all that kind of stuff. So all that combined is $116.24. This gives me a grand total of $2,195 in expenses. Y'all remember, I only brought in $1,034.65. So let's go ahead and do that math. With total income being $1,034.65 and total expenses being $2,195, this left me with a grand net operating income of negative $1,066.30. So that sounds like a losing game right there, right? So, so how did I pull this off? I can't just be running a business and be negative $1,000. So what did I do? Remember in that last video how I mentioned my insurance account? I personally took a loan from that account and loaned it to my business. And so I gave my business about, I think if I'm not mistaken, I did a loan for about $2,000 to my business, to my notary business. And again, this was only because I needed to make sure that I could pay that rent. Also, I needed to buy all the stuff for the office, and I still have a few more things to buy, so I still have some of that money left over. I bought a desk, you know, I bought office furniture, I bought an office printer and all that kind of stuff, right? So I have a few more things to go and grab. And also, I wanted to make sure I had extra money to continue to expand with my Google ads. So that's how I afforded this. And even on my profit and loss, it shows that I lost money for the business. I had an additional funding source. So I want to say this, so I want to share this with my notary buddies. I did this based off of prior experiences and some things that I know I needed for the business, right? I had an additional funding source to fund my business. I didn't put this on a credit card. Do I have to pay that money back to my insurance account? I absolutely do. But guess what? Guess who I'm paying? Myself back. So I can take as long as I want to pay this back. But if you guys are going into debt for your business and you're not making enough money, I strongly recommend you don't do it. Just utilize the money that you have and become resourceful. And that sticks a pin in the month of March. I am extremely grateful that you guys decided to spend some of your time with me as I did a recap of my business in this past month. And if you found any of this information helpful or insightful, I'd really appreciate it if you guys give me a thumbs up. Join me next Monday, and then you can see how all of this unfolds for the month of April. I look forward to chatting with you guys next week. Hurry up so I can get to this appointment. Whew, okay, because they didn't want me to. They did the clerk's office, the clerk authority, the clerk's office. Told you guys, I had to stop watching. I had 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1.